that there were cameras in the home because G would strip down naked and wander around. Well, that wasn't the only reason the cameras were in the house, was it?
No, sir.
You left out all the other details about that you had to monitor Timothy and make sure he didn't go certain places and sneak places and be deceitful, right? You didn't tell the officer that, did you?
Apparently not. I don't know why I didn't, but...
You said he fell out of bed and you went and had to get him and put him back into bed. He never fell out of bed that night, did he?
Not as far as I know. I don't remember, sir.
Well, you know he didn't sleep in the bed that night, don't you?
Well, yeah, so I'm sorry.
Right. So saying that you got up at 5:30 and had to put him back in the bed, and then you changed it to 30 minutes because it's sometime with the ending in a 30 because you learned at that point the rigor mortis had already set in and he'd been deceased for a number of hours. That was still a lie, wasn't it?
I mean, yes, sir, I don't remember any of this. I'm sorry.
The hot sauce in the bathroom downstairs was for food. But it wasn't, was it? The hot sauce was for punishment, right?
It was also to put on food.
But you didn't mention that, we also use hot sauce as a form of punishment, did you?
Apparently not.
I'm guessing you probably didn't mention to the officer, we also had the crazy idea yesterday to pour some hot sauce on his penis for a punishment. You didn't mention that either, did you?
Apparently not, sir. Like I said, I don't remember.
You told the officer that you did not restrict Timothy's movement at night with shackles. That was also a lie, wasn't it?
Again, I don't remember, sir. I know we talked about it, but as far as overnight, no.
But you would restrict his movement with shackles, wouldn't you? Whether it was zip ties or handcuffs or leg shackles.
I mean, I can only go back based on the text messages. I don't know.
Why did you wait 20 minutes to call 911 after you found Timothy deceased in the small closet in the small room?
I have no idea, honestly. I learned of that gap, just a couple of days ago. The whole day is surreal to me, so I have no idea why we waited like that. I don't know. I can't imagine waiting, but apparently it happened. I don't know.
Do you remember Paul asking you, should we call 911?
I don't remember him ever asking. Because I was the one that called, and I was the one, I remember performing CPR, and he did help me out a little bit when I got tired to take over a little bit. But, I mean, I can't imagine ever saying no to that.
But if it's on the video, that's what you said, right?
If it's on there.
So if the video showed that it begins with you with movement outside of the room at about 6:19:21, and 911 is actually called you tell Paul you have to call at 6:37, so that's about 18 minutes, isn't it?
I mean, let's see, 19, yeah, that's 18 minutes.
And Timothy was never responsive to you, was he?
No, sir.
His eyes were wide open, completely glazed over, weren't they?
As far as I remember, yes, sir.
He never moved, never took a breath, never did anything, did he?
No, sir.
And while this is all going on, you tell Paul, we'll have to tell them he was on a hunger strike, right? Remember telling him that?
No, I don't.
Don't remember that either?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling Paul, or do you remember saying put his pants on to make it look like he's been this way?
I don't remember saying that.
Do you remember asking Paul to put the belt on to make it sure that that's the way he looked?
No, sir.
But if they're on video, you said those things,
Yes,
right?
sir. Ms. Vander Ark, isn't it true? Timothy had just become nothing more than an annoyance for you, and he wasn't even a human being in your eyes anymore. That is absolutely not true.
No. Mr. Johnson.
Ms. Vander Ark,
Yes, sir.
did you, in your law, did you reduce everything you did and said and and the comments you made into text that you put in your phone and sent out?
Oh, absolutely not. I talk a lot. I admit that. The text was probably 10% of what I said.
Okay, so would it be true to say that there are other conversations, other issues, other details that are not contained in those texts?
Many, yes, sir.
Okay.
Joining us now to discuss, forensic psychiatrist and body language expert Dr. Carol Lieberman and Florida State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg. Thank you both for joining us. There is so much we could talk about on this case, but Dr. Lieberman, let me start with you because there's so many inconsistencies in her testimony about, oh yes, that text was true. Oh no, that's a lie. I lied to the police when I said Paul and I pulled him out of the bed. Oh yes, she's so manipulative of what she lied about and was truthful about. What does that say about her to you?
Well, she's a sociopath. She's sadistic. She tortured that poor boy. There's no question about that. You know, one of the things that is even more chilling about her testimony is that as she's answering these questions rather matter-of-factly, I don't remember, I do remember, you know, she's not recognizing it. She doesn't recognize that what she's talking about is torture. You know, that she doesn't feel bad about it. I mean, there's no feeling there. And it's very interesting to compare it to her other son, to Paul, when he testified yesterday. He had real emotion. You know, you could tell that he felt remorse and that he had more of an insight into what was going on. But she's just saying, you know, it's like she could be talking about her shopping list.
That's a great point.
Doctor, I'll even go a step further and ask you and say that not only is she not emotional, I think she's still angry at that young man. So
Yes.
much of what this child did angered her. And so he was being sneaky. That's why I did it. He had a history of being sneaky. That's why I had to do this, that, and the other thing. She's still angry at him, and I say she transferred that anger onto Paul because you saw that in Paul's texts. He's trying to make me late for work, and this, that, and the other thing. And I certainly think, he at 19 has some responsibility, and I agree. Yesterday he said to the point where maybe I didn't love him enough. So I think that shows some acknowledgement. But talk to me about this duality, this idea that she could be this high-achieving person on one side, yet come home to this and either not remember, not care, or just inflict this on someone intentionally.
Yes, she had, it was two different personas, you know, it was just amazing. Now, of course, someone who was still working as a court clerk could not have that much forgetfulness. I mean, she wouldn't last a week. But, you know, it is true that, you know, she physically tortured Tim, but she psychologically tortured Paul. She twisted him around, she manipulated him, I mean, she manipulated both of them, but, you know, she did really as much harm to Paul as she did to Tim. I mean, Paul isn't dead, but you know what I mean. Psychologically, they had this little secret, incestuous almost connection going on, their torture plans and so on. It was all this secret that mommy and son, you know, and Paul were keeping, and they were taking it out on Tim. It's just, you know, it's hard to believe that it's real.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's bring you in. We want your thoughts, Dave, as you've been watching along. What stands out to you?
I agree with everything that Carol said. I mean, this is a sociopath. I mean, she shows very little remorse, and all of a sudden then she breaks down. Then she has a panic attack. She has a convenient excuse that she had a stroke and can't remember anything. But it's selective memory. As the person who wrote in, you went to that message online. Exactly. The viewer who wrote in that said it's convenient how she remembers some things that help her in the case, but can't remember any of the bad stuff. You don't remember handcuffing your son? That would be something that you would think that a mother would remember. And you know how she prefaces her answers with, honestly, I honestly can't. Anyone who has to preface their answer with, well, let me be honest with you, or honestly, watch your wallet, because you know they're lying.
Yeah, that's a really good point. All right, I know we need